I wish for you to have peace.
I wish peace in the world.
I wish everybody peace.
I wish you peace. I wish myself peace.
Good afternoon, and welcome everybody to Semple Elementary. It's always such an honor and pleasure to be here in the school. I remember about a year and a half ago where Mayor Fisher and I spent the last day of school here, and we get to see the kids get on the bus, and what an exhibition of positive culture it was here at Semple Elementary as the teachers and staff followed the kids out as they got on the bus, and you could see the emotion of the teachers and the kids, that they were disappointed that school was ending, and there were a lot of tears, and it's just what we look for in an elementary school. So such a wonderful school that has taken on the Compassionate Schools Project and done incredible work with these students here. Also, welcome our students from the ESL Newcomer Academy, so welcome all of you guys. And we have other students from around the district that we're pleased to have with us today. I am honored to host this press conference to really talk about Compassionate Louisville. And really, Dr. Babar here has been a close friend and works hard to really promote JCPS. So thank you very much. It's an honor to work here with you. And obviously, our work with Mayor Fisher and Compassionate Schools since 2015 has been a huge success for us. As we work to make sure that all of our children are a part of a community and really demonstrate empathy for all the kids, and that we make sure that we support our children. We have more and more kids that come to us with need, trauma, adverse childhood experiences every single year, and Compassionate Schools Project is a project that allows students to better understand their emotions and how to cope and deal with trauma and these adverse childhood experiences in a positive way. It has been a great success for many of our elementary schools. Semple is one of those.
I want to recognize a few of our council people that are very thankful that have joined us here today. Paula McCraney, Jessica Green, Bill Hollander, and Council President David James. Thank you all for your support. When we first signed the Charter for Compassion on November 11, 2011, we had unanimous support of our Metro Council, and that's been a huge part of making compassion such a hallmark for our city that's now known all over the world. Because the bottom line is compassion is a fundamental human instinct. It's not like we invented it, but we wanted it to come alive in a big way in our city. So cities from all over the world would say, what is going on in Louisville, Kentucky? 4 years in a row, the International Model City of Compassion. So I'm grateful that we've been able to see that. And we see compassion in people of all ages and in all places. And while there's no shortage of stories in today's world about conflict and division, when we look, and I can tell you it is the vast majority of the time I spend, seeing extraordinary examples of compassion in every context. It can be in politics, it can be in war, it can be in peace, it can be in business, it can be in government, houses of worship, because compassion is a basic tenet of every major religion, and I believe we are all born with it. It is in our heart when we come into the world. And what better way to exhibit and build compassion but in our schools? It is wonderful to see more and more compassion in action in our schools here in Louisville, thanks to Dr. Polio, JCPS, the groundbreaking Compassionate Schools Project, which we launched in 2015. It's grown every year. I want to thank Owsley Brown, who's not here with us today, but being such a vital part of our Compassionate Schools Project and leading the fundraising to make that happen as well. Dr. Polio, Principal Randall, all the students, I want to say thank you to you guys. And how cool is that to go to school, Lonnie Ali, where there's a compassion club? Huh? That should be in every school all over the world. So let's hear it for JCPS. I talked about compassion as a core value in my inaugural address on a cold, cold day in January of 2011. But I said we would use 3 principles to make decisions in our city. Can we be a city of even more lifelong learning? Can we be an even healthier city? physical health, mental health, spiritual health, environmental health? And can we be an even more compassionate city? And the word compassion was chosen because I was looking for a word that indicated that we are all in this together. Doesn't matter if you're from this side of town or that side of town, this religion, this skin color, that skin color. All of that stuff is secondary differences. We are linked together as human beings, and that's what compassion means. We respect each other so we want our full human potential flourishing, shining like the sun, Thomas Merton would say. And if you live in a city where everybody's learning, everybody's healthy, and everybody's human potential is flourishing, what do you think? Does that sound like a pretty good place to live? Yeah, so that's what we're trying to do here in our city. And I know that we're not perfect, but we are all imperfect people on an imperfect journey. The important thing is we try, and we continue to try. When we talk about this, sometimes we want to say, well, you're not perfect because you have a homeless person in your community, or you're not perfect because it sounds like it's weak. No, compassionate people are strong people, and it's harder oftentimes for people to be compassionate than just to be critics. So we embrace compassion in our city, and we think it makes each of us in our entire community stronger. And when you really think about us, we got a lot of Louisvillians here. When you think about compassion, I think it's part of our legacy, and it's part of the history of our city. When you think Abraham Lincoln was not born too far away from our city. He was one of the original people in our country to really demonstrate what compassion and respect for every human being is. When you think about Justice Louis Brandeis, first Jewish Supreme Court justice from Louisville, Kentucky, and the sense of justice that he brought to the country. Thomas Merton and his epiphany at 4th and Walnut Street. Muhammad Ali, who used his platform as the world's greatest athlete to become the world's greatest humanitarian. He is part of that legacy. Ann Braden, who fought for open housing and everybody in our community, is part of that legacy. So compassion is in the DNA of our city. If you are a Louisvillian, if you live in Louisville, that is who we are. And that legacy is our responsibility to carry us forward. And I want to say I'm so happy to see Lonnie Ali with us here today. And Lonnie, you are a champion and carrier of compassion and inspiration to each and every one of us. We're really blessed to have the Muhammad Ali Center in our community because of the global attention that brings to this mission of compassion. And we ask people to come to the city and come to the Ali Center because we want them to leave inspired to be even more compassionate city. So our city has responded to this call in a huge way. We established our annual Give a Day event, citywide event of volunteerism, over 235,000 volunteers and acts of compassion this past week, thanks to all the citizens of Louisville and the great work of Metro United Way as our back office support and rallier of compassion. I want to thank Teresa Reno Weber for her leadership with that. Our Give a Day Advisory Council, please wave your hand if you're on the Give a Day Advisory Council. Thank you guys so much for your work here. JCPS, We Day, Kentucky Derby Festival, many corporate partners, and so many others. So it takes all of us to make this happen together. And as I said, the council has been there from the very beginning, signing our 10-year Compassionate City campaign in 2011. Then there's a national global organization that I want to recognize as well. And I want to take this opportunity to thank Charles Barker. Charles is right here behind us. He's the chair of the Board of Trustees for the International Charter for Compassion. So, Charles, I want to thank you for your partnership, and we'll be hearing from him in a second. And then we have 3 Louisvillians. We're known all over the world now, folks, for the work our city is doing in compassion. So we have 3 Louisvillians who serve on the International Charter for Compassion Board. Tom Williams. Tori Merton McClure. And Dr. Mohammed Babar, global luminaries for us. Thank you, buddy. I also want to recognize Gray Henry for her involvement in Louisville's compassion movement. Is Gray here? Yes. Okay. You know, Gray has been instrumental in a lot of our interfaith work, which is at the bedrock of a lot of our compassion movement. But when His Holiness the Dalai Lama visited the city in 2013, She did an incredible job putting together this checklist for compassion. And I know this is online, I believe, and you probably still have some copies, Grace. So if anybody wants a real checklist for how to be super compassionate, be sure to check out this booklet. Our compassion work has led to some unusual partnerships. You know, we say that the Dalai Lama is a strategic partner of the city of Louisville in our compassion work. He, of course, is the Buddha of compassion, and he and his team are fascinated that the city is trying to live forth this human value of compassion. So we appreciate him very, very much. We've been named an International Model City of Compassion for 4 years in a row. The Drepung Gromong Center for Engaging Compassion changed their name from Drepung Gromong to a Center for Engaging Compassion. So I want to thank Geshe La and Ann Walter for their incredible work there. So now is the time to build even more on this incredible momentum we've achieved, because this work has to continue for the good of the citizens of Louisville, and especially for our youngest citizens over here. Our compassion work is always in us, right? But one thing that we want to make sure happens is that this work is institutionalized in our city. And it's important when we have good projects like this that they extend beyond the tenure of any one mayoral administration. And while government should be a partner in our city's compassion efforts, and certainly a leader, those efforts should be best led when it's a coalition of private citizens and organizations. So that's why I'm proud to say today that we're taking the next step in our city's compassionate journey as we celebrate the formation of a new independent entity, a new 501c3 called Compassionate Louisville. Compassionate Louisville, oh, let's hear it for Compassionate Louisville, all right. Compassionate Louisville is made up of an outstanding group of community volunteers, and we'll meet them in a moment. And they will continue to champion the cause of compassion, because they're all doing the work already, and they're going to continue to coordinate efforts among stakeholders and work to grow the scope and impact of compassion in Louisville. So I really want to thank the members of this newly formed board for their legacy already of hard work, partnership, and compassion on behalf of the people, not just of Louisville, but our entire country and the world as well. This work that we're doing in our city reverberates around the world. We've had over 45 cities visit us to learn from our compassion work. I want to especially thank my good friend, Dr. Mohammed Baber here. He is the founding chair of Compassionate Louisville and has a great legacy of work already in this area, and I know Dr. Barber will take us to even greater heights.
So thank you, Mayor Fisher, for working hard to make compassion a pillar of our community. We truly appreciate your efforts that have resulted in Louisville's recognition, not only in our country, but in whole wide world, and compassion has become a brand of Louisville. So since November 11, 2011, when our worthy council unanimously approved the Charter of Compassion, and Mayor Fisher signed it, our beloved city has been diligently working in its effort to bring compassion to the roots and to become a DNA of our city. Wonderful civic leaders like Tom Williams, Al Klein, along with so many other unsung heroes, deserve credit for their devotion to the cause of compassion and for bringing us together to this stage where we are now able to take this journey to next level. So let's give a big hand of applause to all these unsung heroes along with our leaders here. Ours is a very special place which has the blessings of most compassionate souls, including Thomas Merton and Muhammad Ali. It has faith communities that believe in religious harmony and paying back to the community. It has wonderful universities like Spalding University, the first university in the world to sign Charter of Compassion. It has the 7th largest Rotary Club in the world, the Downtown Rotary Club, that years ago signed the Charter of Compassion. It has one of the largest school districts, JCPS school district, which is probably the only school district in our country which has a compassionate curriculum. It has companies like Signature Healthcare that has compassion as their core driving principle. So if there is a place in our world that can be breathing ground for compassion, then it is no other than our beloved city. Heck, this city has even adopted an incomplete soul like myself as its own native son. And not only that, I am the foot soldier on front lines to bring compassion to the roots of this city. So you can see that how compassionate Louisville is. As Mayor Fisher mentioned, that in order to take this journey to the next level, we have recently formed Compassionate Louisville, a 501c3 nonprofit organization that will reach out to every house of worship, every hospital, nursing home, community organization, and business entity to designate and identify compassion ambassadors to collaborate with Compassionate Louisville. And with the help of these compassionate ambassadors, Compassionate Louisville will serve as a portal to highlight the hundreds and thousands of acts of compassion that are happening every day in our city in order to inspire and engage the citizens. Compassionate Louisville will also amplify actions around existing social issues that our citizens face every day by increasing awareness in our community and then empowering the existing organizations that are already engaged in tackling these problems. It will be an umbrella organization to connect, convene, and catalyze local people, organizations, and businesses to build compassion and its awareness. Our vision is to create a place where all people in our community have opportunity, desire, and support to engage in year-round service and compassion. And our purpose is simple, to empower all people to flourish. Some people think compassion is soft and weak. In reality, compassion is very complex and difficult. It makes us uncomfortable because it increases the awareness of all the pain and suffering which is around us. And then compassion encourages us to be a source of comfort for our fellow beings. It is an emotion that requires action to assist and give a hand to all those who need assistance. Also, let me say it loudly and clearly. Compassion is not owned by me, Mayor Fisher, or all these other leaders, or any other one individual. It is owned by the citizens of Louisville. Compassion does not belong to Democrats or Republicans, urban liberals or rural conservatives, or any one faith denomination. Compassion is owned by all of us, and it brings all of us together through human service to live the purpose of our creation. Therefore, I hope, Louisvillians, if you are listening to me, you will join us, irrespective of your political or religious affiliation, to make our community a truly compassionate community where there will be no 9th Street divide, where no house of worship will be vandalized, no grandfather will be shot dead in front of his grandson in a grocery store, and where there will be no one left alone to sleep on the street corners in blazing heat or in freezing cold. We need each and every citizen to join hands in goodwill to achieve these goals. They may seem too lofty or impossible to some, but let me tell you that if we all join hands and put trust in each other, God willing, we will achieve our goals. Because the greatest son of Louisville, Muhammad Ali, said, "Impossible is just a word thrown around by small men who find it easier to live in the world they have been given than to explore the power they have to change it." Impossible is not a fact, it's an opinion. Impossible is a potential. Impossible is temporary, and impossible is nothing. So my friends, over the next few months, members of Compassion Louisville Board will work together to spread a network of compassion ambassadors in our city and to finalize our goals to convene our collective attention against some of the tougher social issues in our community and to bring together citizens and leaders to harness our collective power of compassion for good. And a priority and a focus for Compassion Louisville will be to nurture and groom our children, our future, as they are key holders for our city, for a better future for our country and for our world. Similarly, Compassion Louisville will be collaborating with community on ways to reduce social isolation of our seniors, as they hold enormous wisdom and skill sets through their life cycles. It will especially engage them to give them a purpose and meaning in life while mitigating social isolation so that they can thrive in this stage of their lives. Compassion Louisville is creating an active website to archive all the good work done in past, present, and in future. Similarly, we are working on portals through social media and will soon be sharing with fellow citizens. And now let me introduce you all to the founding members of Compassionate Louisville who really need no introduction. Tom Williams, Jan Helson, Tori McClure-Murden, Donald Lissier, Marta Miranda Straub, Holly Creamy, Matt Goldberg, Janice Cates, who's hiding there, Susan Wright, Chris Sergio, Sarah Reed Riggs, Ronald Oliver, Sarah Devisher Wisdom. Please give them a hand for their dedication and devotion to the cause of our community.
Thank you so much. This is such an exciting day, and given the work that the Louisville Parks Foundation does, I just wanted to say a word about the creativity that we can all bring to the table to have an impact on our community in a positive way. The guiding principle for the Louisville Parks Foundation is projects through partnerships. And to take us to the next level in a compassionate city, it's going to mean that we all need to work together. One friend of mine is back here from Blessings in a Backpack, and 2 years ago, Texas Roadhouse at Blessings in a Backpack recognized that there was a gap providing meals to students during the summer months. They already work very closely with JCPS and are able to provide those weekend meals during the school year, but those same children didn't have access to meals on the weekend during the summer. So a combination of Blessings in a Backpack, Texas Roadhouse, and the Louisville Parks Foundation came together to establish Summer Blessings. And for the last 2 years, we have purchased and packed more than 8,000 meals that are distributed to our Parks Department community centers during the summer to make sure that those same children have access to food. So I just encourage folks, and this was sort of outside of the Give a Day Compassionate Louisville, but I know there are people that are out there doing this type of work, and for those of you who haven't engaged in that kind of work yet, this is going to be a great way to come together and find those partnerships to be able to fill the needs of our community. So thank you to the mayor, thank you to Compassionate Louisville, especially you, sir, for your leadership, and we appreciate what everyone does.
Our last speaker before I invite Mayor to close remarks. So I know you guys are the main compassion ambassadors, but we needed to invite some teenager or from there too. So we have here Esther Siddiqui. So Esther is Iroquois High School senior. She's a V-Day Youth Advisory Council, and I have listened to Esther once. She's awesome, and she's so compassionate that I envy her. Thank you.
Good afternoon to you all. My name is Esther Siddiqui Josiane. I'm 20 years old, originally from the Democratic Republic of Congo. I lived in Uganda for 10 years as a refugee, and I came to the US on the 28th of February this year, 2019. I'm a senior at Iroquois High School in a program called Accelerate to Graduate, which helps refugees and immigrants who come to the US in danger of aging out of high school, just like me. I am a member of the Mayor's We Day Youth Board. I want to define the word compassion. It is sympathetic pity and concern for the suffering of or misfortune of others. As a young girl, I and my family left Congo due to so many factors that were enemy to our lives. We moved to a new place called Uganda, starting life afresh with frustration and fear that nothing would work out for our goodness because everything was strange. Like every young person, I had dreams and had hobbies, and I had role models. But to the look of things, everything and all my dreams were shattered because of the language barrier and because of unemployment in our family. I and my siblings got ESL classes and figured out how to go for the classes, and my parents later figured out something to take us to a public school in our neighborhood. But the neighborhood was really not good for us as children who were growing up, so we had to move to a different place. And then when we got to that different place, there was no public school around, and the private schools were really expensive. We had to stay home for a while. As young children, we saw that things were again turning out to our bad, and we had sleepless nights thinking, what will be next? As refugees, our parents were unemployed. And then we had a family member who was abroad and tried to talk to some of her friends. And when she talked to some of her friends, we were total strangers to those friends, but with a heart of compassion, they tried and they thought of it, and out of their bills, out of their pockets, they got money and paid for our tuition and my siblings in an expensive private school for 9 years in a row. Can you really figure that out? Someone out of their pockets. Of course, we all have bills. We don't earn enough to keep our families safe, but then they paid for our tuition in very expensive schools for 9 years in a row. And that made me different and my siblings from every other refugees, because I can now stand in front of you with only 8 months in the United States and I'm speaking English, and I can stand confidently in front of you, which some of my fellow refugees don't get a chance to face as in their refuge life. And of course, as most of the young children are living down there, they are thinking they're waiting to be resettled, maybe in the United States, maybe in Canada. And the United States has been known that they've been taking most of the refugees in the past years. Now that they've stopped taking, now their dreams are shattered out. We don't know, since October, some families have been left out. And they're like, when are we going to school? Because they have hopes that when they come here, of course, they'll get free education. But back in Africa, we pay for education. And parents, of course, can't afford it because of unemployment. But we pray that the government should rethink on that, because children are really hoping, and their parents are hoping for a better future of their kids when they get here. And this has really changed my life. The act of the people who helped me and my family out for the 9 years that we've been in refuge in Uganda changed my life. I had different dreams from the one I have now because of their compassionate act. And I've dedicated my life to helping others just because some people helped me. They helped me to see a better future. They helped me to learn. They helped me to speak English, because I don't know, I couldn't imagine my life without a little bit of knowledge of English in this country, like others face that nightmare. Compassion is something that everyone has and should demonstrate, no matter where you come from. All corners of the world, all corners of our city. Compassion is the key for people to thrive. I call all young people to act now, because the world is facing many challenges, and if we are to make it better, my generation must stand together, seek understanding, respect, and treat others with genuine compassion. Compassion knows no color, no race, no origin, no religion. I'm so proud to be helping to lead this effort to help compassion thrive in Louisville.
Well, that was amazing, and I know we're all so thankful to be part of this journey, and it's happened one person at a time. So I just want to say a big thank you to everybody. You know, we've all done this together, and we've got a lot more work left to do. And what's awesome is everybody's so excited about it. Yeah. So we're not spiking the football today here. We're just saying we're now taking this to the next stage. So just very grateful on behalf of the entire city, and I want to thank Dr. Bobber, everybody who signed up to help lead Compassionate Louisville to the next level. I want to thank our students and their great examples for us.